There was a time where my life was moving forward and inconsistent with what I wanted to achieve for the next year. Every New Year's resolution said that I wanted to become more consistent in that what I wanted to achieve, which back then was music. But at the end of every year, I didn't make the progress that I desired. I wanted the money, the status, the fame, everything that came with it. And I was too caught up with the amazing success stories that I saw on Instagram of all these influencers and other artists, even the people that I knew within my own city. I was so fixated on the fact that luck played such a big factor in their success and in the success of anyone, that I forgot to do the main thing that I was supposed to do, that I forgot to take my responsibility and to put in the work myself. I wasn't taking action, I wasn't being responsible, and so as a result, I never became an artist. The desire to become an artist even faded. And now that I have the new desire to achieve new goals, I will 100% implement this. And I want you to take this with you. There was a time in my life where I sat in this exact room. I used to wake up in the morning and the first thing that I did was to open up Instagram, check notifications, and then I would open up Netflix with either a borrowed or a stolen account, and I would just watch Breaking Bad or anime shows back to back to back for the entirety of the day. I would eat like once or twice, and then what would I eat? I would eat like some frozen pizza that I would put in the microwave. And that was my nutrition. I had the desire to work on music. I had the desire to work on my goals, but I didn't. I wanted love. I wanted affection. So I would spend hours, not hours, but I would spend time on Tinder, swiping everybody to the right side, willing to settle for below my standards, for below what I want from a woman, just to feel like some comfort, just to feel like, yeah, I've made it, to snuggle up and run away from my responsibilities. And of course I didn't get no one. Of course, I didn't achieve anything in my life. Everything that I dreamt of achieving back then, of course, that wasn't going to happen if I consistently stayed in my bed, doing nothing, putting the blame on other people. And that's exactly what I did. I blamed everybody else, besides myself, for the results that I had in my life. I said, fuck, I'm not lucky. Oh, the only reason that they have the success they want is because they have met the right people. They're lucky. What's so interesting about luck is that it's something that you can build up. Luck is an accumulation of the actions that you take, which then increase the chances of you becoming lucky and meeting the right people, being in the right environment. And especially if it's meant for you to achieve that, you will achieve that. And I guess I was just never meant to be an artist. I was just never meant to be that person. Because over the years that I've been taking action, step by step, to like realizing the goal that I had, because there came a point where I became super pissed off with the reality that I was in. I couldn't live this way anymore. I just wanted to get it done. So I started to take the necessary steps of deleting Netflix, not watching Netflix shows anymore, or only watching them in the evening. And throughout the day, I would sit down and try to do the work, which was super difficult because I was so used to indulging in comfort that it was extremely hard for me to even write like one verse. That's nothing, but I struggled so hard with it, and still I kept pushing and persevering. And as the years developed and I started to get to know people and everything, I realized that music wasn't going to be for me, because my values had changed. I changed completely as a person as I took action, as I became more towards the person that I desired to become. I realized, like, okay, I don't fit into this. Like, I'm not willing to be an artist. I'm not willing to do the things that people are doing in order to like properly blow up and make an income out of it. Okay, well, I'll have to do something else. I'll have to look for a different way that I can express myself and provide my message to the world. But me being able to realize this all came from me sitting in this dark room, sitting here, being depressed, insecure, filled with doubt, afraid of everything and everyone, afraid of myself, afraid of confronting myself. To now stand here in front of a camera, expressing myself confidently, being a married man, having morals that I respect, living up to my morals, working on myself to be able to be surrounded by the right people, the people that I value, the people that I care about, the people who care about me. And not because I'm running away from discomfort, not that because I'm running away from my emotions, not because I'm running away from my reality. No, by actually being in that really uncomfortable situation and acknowledging that you feel kind of strange. You know that you got skills to build, but still acknowledging that and persevering. Isn't that like the desired life that everybody wants to have? Because that's definitely what I wanted. I'm 27 right now, and the story that I told you was when I was 20. It took me 7 years to get to this point. And even last year, I was completely lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. I've put in so many years where I wanted to become an artist. It was like around the age of 21, 22 is when I started to like do my best to actively put myself back into recording music. But back then I was also like addicted to smoking weed and still running away from my responsibilities that I was struggling with. I want to do the work, then I'd forget to do the work because I wanted to smoke weed, and then I kept smoking weed the entire day and the entire night. I went to work, a normal job, which was retail, like a retail job back then, and I kept fighting with that over and over and over again and becoming pissed off with myself and thinking like, fuck, is this really what I'm worth? And constantly fighting that self-doubt. And it took years of consistent effort and consistent action taking and acknowledging that I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life. Like, it's so easy to put the blame on somebody else. I used to blame my upbringing. I used to blame the city that I was living in. I used to blame my co-workers. I used to blame everybody but myself for where I was at. If I got angry at somebody, it's because they pissed me off. No, I allowed myself to piss me off. It's not their fault. Yet I thought like that when I was high as hell in my garden. This was like in the middle of the winter. Like it was November. It was super cold and I was high as hell. And it was in that moment that I realized, okay, bro, you gotta do something with yourself, because this is not gonna move forward. Like, life is not gonna change. I'm not gonna become the greatest version of myself if I continue to do this habit and other habits that are not aligned with who I want to be. And I knew the new year was coming. And I knew that in 2022, I wanted to change completely, you know. I felt an urgency to take action. I felt an urgency, the need to get it done. And so I took responsibility for the decisions, for everything that was happening in my life. I struggled because I back then was also in a relationship that I didn't want to be in. I was dating someone that I didn't want to be with. And it took me like from the moment of realization up until 4 months later, actually, because I broke up in February of 2022. Like, I was weighing the decision, like, will I step away? Will I not step away? And the reason why I delayed making that decision for so long was because I knew what the consequences would be. I know that I would get a lot of backlash. I know that I've not been living up to the promise that I had made for that person. I know that I've not been a great man at all. I know that I've made a lot of mistakes. I know that I've played with her emotions quite a lot. That I've basically, in a way, abused her in that relationship mentally, simply because I was running away from my responsibility of being alone, of walking in the dark, of walking by myself, acknowledging that I need to work on myself if I want to get that what I really desire, instead of wasting somebody else's time. And so I still took on that responsibility. I FaceTimed her and I said, yeah, this is how it's going to be. I'm going to step away. And that was that. And then my life started to improve tremendously. And because I saw and realized the power of being responsible for your decisions. And I also stopped smoking weed. And around the same period, I acknowledged the consequences that would come from quitting weed, that would have a lot of cold sweats, that would wake up completely wet at night, that would have drastic dreams, that would not be able to sleep for the first couple of nights, or like not sleep that much, which all happened. It all happened. I also knew that I'm not, at that point in my life, I was not emotionally stable. So I knew that my emotions would go all over the place. And at that point, I was also going for a leadership role in retail. And I had all those responsibilities on me and I was going through it, but I still managed to push through because I just made a promise to myself and I've been responsible for my decision making. I took responsibility for the consequences of that, what I did in the past. And that got me to be in the position that I am today. I can't imagine a life where I didn't do that. So I continuously make myself the promise that I never want to end up in a position that I was in before, that I never want to be the man that I was in the past, that despite sometimes feeling the impulse to act in my old ways, that I just force myself through that I disassociate myself by telling myself like, no, I'm not that person anymore. I'm somebody else and I desire to be somebody else. Just because I once was that person in the past doesn't mean that I have to be that person today. So I persevere, I push through, I make it worth it. Is it easy? No, but all good things in life that are worth it are not easy. And if you want to become the greatest version of yourself, these are the things that you have to do. This is the sacrifice that you must make. And this is the sacrifice that I'm willing to make, to even open myself on camera, on YouTube, where everybody can see me, so that you, hopefully, can take inspiration out of this and take action towards achieving the goals that you want to achieve. It is possible. You can do it. If I was able to do that, Like, this is the exact room where I was in, where I was either high as fuck after having smoked weed for hours in my garden, where I watched Netflix hours and hours on end. This is the room where I did a lot of fucked up shit. Like, fucked up in terms of habits that didn't contribute towards me becoming the greatest version of myself. I used to play video games in here. I used to do so many things in here. It has now become my office. This room has so much story in it. It's crazy. And I'm still in here. And it's quite inspirational, actually, just to reflect back on it and to see where I came from. And so being responsible, taking responsibility for everything that I wanted in life, made me to be consistent in achieving the goals that I desired. At the end of 2023, I decided to start a YouTube channel. I was afraid to take action. I was afraid to take on a challenge. I still did it. I pressed the record button and I kept showing up. I kept trying to improve myself bit by bit. And that has gotten me to be in the position that I am today, where I can say that I have 600 subscribers. I'm well on my way to reaching 1K subscribers, and that was one of the goals that I set for myself to reach by the end of this year. Will we reach it by January? I don't know. This video will probably be released like one day before hitting January. So I'm looking forward to see how that is going to turn out, but I want to be able to celebrate and say this to you. If I didn't take action, if I didn't kept showing up, being afraid, facing who I was back then, thinking a bit more long term, instead of just short term of, oh, I feel uncomfortable, and actively taking my responsibility and improving. And that made me to become consistent. This wouldn't have been able to be the case if I didn't back then, when I was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, to now 27, to consistently show up when I wasn't ready to do that, to consistently show up when I didn't know what I was gonna do, when I didn't know what the hell I was doing even, to just figure it out as I progressed through life. I promise you, if you do this, you will become consistent in everything that you do, all right? Remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Bye-bye.